Probably you find yourself in a situation where you needed to change a small thing in WordPress to make it work for you. I faced this countless times over the past 14 years of building WordPress websites. The main problem is that I don't know PHP and I don't want to learn it either. This time, I ran into an issue with WooCommerce. I sell products from Printify or Printful on my website, and some of them only ship to the US. Most of the products do ship everywhere, but some don't, and I still want to keep them in my store. But I really want my website to help people from all over the world. I need to make a small change. If someone enters a shipping address outside the US, I want the website to notify them and stop them from purchasing the product, unless they change the address to the US or remove the problematic product from their cart. I also want a warning to show up on the product page so they know not to add that product to their cart in the first place. On top of that, I want it to be a very simple settings, just checking a box on the product edit page. So I can let automation handle marking all the products for me instead of doing it manually for each one. This is my first time creating a plugin with ChatGPT. If you'd like to download the plugin, you can click the link in the description to get it for free. But if you'd like to learn what I did with ChatGPT to create a plugin yourself, keep watching this video. Let's go over everything I added to the plugin, and then I'll explain exactly how I created it. I have to admit it took me some time because of all the changes I wanted to make. While I was creating the plugin, I kept getting new ideas to make it better, and all the revisions I made added time to the process. Let's take a look what the plugin does. It all starts with the product page. In the general product setting, there is now a new option to mark if this product ships only to US addresses. That's all the setup needed on the backend. When I want to update a product, I just check this option. Save the changes and everything else will show up on the front end. Now let's move to the front end product page. On the product page, there's a warning that this product ships only to US addresses, along with a US flag icon. I also added the same warning in the catalog view, just below the Add to Cart button. If someone adds the product to their cart and their saved address isn't in the US, they'll see a yellow warning message with the text and the US flag. If they continue to checkout page, the product will still be highlighted in yellow, but now there's a big delete option, so they can easily remove the product without going back to the cart page. They can also change their address at this stage and proceed with the product. Additionally, if they try to complete the order with a non-US address, the checkout with PayPal button disappears. This prevents them completing the order with that product in the cart. If they click to proceed, they'll get a notification explaining that the product is only available for US addresses, and they can either remove it or update their address. Usually you can only remove products from the cart page, but I didn't want people to leave the checkout page just to go back and make changes to the cart. I really hope people outside the US will see the warning before they add the product to their cart. But if they don't, at least I can make it easier for them to handle it directly on the checkout page. I didn't want to prevent the product from being added to the cart if the address wasn't in the US, because sometimes people use services to forward items to their address through the US address, or they might want to send it as a gift to someone in the US. So I allowed the product added to the cart. That's everything the plugin does. Now let's see how I created it. I started with simple instruction to ChatGPT explaining what I wanted to achieve. After some back and forth, it finally worked the way I wanted. And ChatGPT provides me with PHP code to use for the plugin. But then I decided I also wanted the plugin to allow removing the product directly from the checkout page. Since I wanted to add a delete button on the checkout page, I asked ChatGPT to provide the code for that. This required adding a new file for JavaScript code. If you're not familiar with code, like me, you just need to know that WordPress uses a few different types of code, like PHP, JavaScript, HTML, etc. When creating a plugin, you'll often need a separate file for each type of code. When you give ChatGPT instructions for creating a plugin, start by describing the main idea and focus on getting it to work. Once the basic functionality is in the place, you can make changes and improvements step by step. If the code starts getting too long and ChatGPT can generate it all at once, ask it to continue from where it stopped. You can copy the output in 2 or more paths. When making changes, do each change separately. This way, if something doesn't work, it's easier to identify and fix the specific issue. If ChatGPT provides only part of the code for a change, ask where it should be added so you can place it in the correct location. Each section of the code usually comes with a title or explanation from ChatGPT. Use this to understand what each part of the code does. If you need to modify something later, you know exactly where to find it in the longer code. Now let's see how to use the code to build the plugin. To use the code you got from ChatGPT, open Notepad on your computer. Copy the code from ChatGPT and paste it into Notepad. You can ask ChatGPT to give you a name for the plugin you've created and use that as a file name. Save the file in a folder with the same name as the plugin. If the file is PHP, you need to save it with a PHP extension. To ensure it saves correctly, choose the file type All Files when saving. If you don't select this option, it won't save correctly. If the code also includes JavaScript, and you will get 2 separate codes for that, save it in a separate file within the same folder. Use a JS extension for the JavaScript file, and again choose All File when saving. You can ask ChatGPT for the exact names for all the files. Once you've saved all the files, exit the folder and right-click on it. You should see an option to compress the folder. Click on it to create zip file. This zip file is your plugin. Now go to your WordPress website in the backend, click on Plugins, then Add New, and upload the zip file from your computer. If the plugin is good, it will install without issues. If you encounter an error on your website and your website goes down because of it, you need to access your FTP panel. Find the WP content folder, then the plugins folder, and locate the plugin folder you created. Delete it from there. After that, return to ChatGPT, explain the issue, and ask for help finding and fixing the problem. If you make any changes, update the PHP file or the JavaScript file as needed, and save it again. Make sure to delete the previous compressed file to avoid mistakes when uploading the plugin. Then compress the folder again into zip file. Keep testing until everything works exactly as you wanted it to. Now, for other solution I've found, when you upload products from Printify or Printful or any other service connected to your WooCommerce store, you're limited by what the service allows during the upload process. Sometimes you can choose categories and sometimes you can't. Either way, you usually still need to go into the product you've uploaded and make changes. I have another tutorial on how to automate this process using TaskMagic automation. If you have TaskMagic and want to go through all the products to update them, and you have a lot of them, you can add a step to your existing automation for adding WooCommerce products. In the automation, you can add a step to click on the checkbox that marks the product as not shipping outside the US. It doesn't matter where you place this step in the workflow. Just add it between the existing step for updating products. That's it. If you'd like to get the plugin I created for WooCommerce to restrict products that ship only to the US, you can click the link in the description. And it's not limited only for products from Printify or Printful. It's for everything. You can click the link in the description and download it for free when you sign up for the newsletter. Like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.